As the last rays of sunlight faded behind the horizon, casting shadows upon the desolate streets, I found myself standing alone at the bus stop. The wind whispered eerie secrets through the rustling leaves, and an unsettling chill crept down my spine. But I had no choice. I had to catch the last bus home. The bus stop was a worn-out shelter, covered in graffiti and surrounded by overgrown bushes. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, frozen in a perpetual state of neglect. The faint glow of the streetlight overhead flickered ominously, casting long shadows that danced across the pavement. I glanced at my watch, the hands ticking closer to midnight. Any minute now, the bus would arrive. Bus 13, they called it. Legend had it that this particular bus was cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who had met their demise on its journey. But I had always dismissed such tales as mere superstition. The bus finally rumbled into view, its headlights piercing through the darkness like two blazing eyes. As it came to a stop in front of me, I hesitated for a moment, feeling a strange sense of foreboding wash over me. But with a resigned sigh, I stepped aboard, pushing aside my irrational fears. The interior of the bus was dimly lit, the flickering fluorescent lights casting a sickly pallor over the passengers seated in the rows of worn-out seats. There were only a handful of us, a tired-looking businessman, a young couple lost in whispered conversation, and a solitary figure huddled in the back, shrouded in darkness. I made my way to an empty seat near the front, feeling a sense of relief wash over me as the bus lurched forward, leaving the desolate streets behind. But as we began our journey, a feeling of unease settled over me like a heavy blanket, suffocating and oppressive. The bus trundled along its route, the engine groaning with each turn of the wheels. Outside, the darkness seemed to press in on us from all sides, enveloping the bus in a suffocating embrace. And with each passing mile, the air grew thicker, charged with a palpable sense of dread. I glanced around nervously, my eyes lingering on the shadowy figure at the back of the bus. There was something unsettling about them, something otherworldly that sent shivers down my spine. But when I tried to focus on them, they seemed to fade into the darkness, elusive and enigmatic. As the journey wore on, strange things began to happen. The lights flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. The air grew colder, icy tendrils creeping through the cracks and crevices of the bus. And every now and then, I could swear I heard whispered voices, ghostly echoes that sent chills racing down my spine. I tried to dismiss it as my imagination running wild, but deep down, I knew there was something terribly wrong. The other passengers seemed oblivious to the growing sense of unease, lost in their own thoughts or conversations. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone on that bus, that there was something sinister lurking in the shadows. As the bus rattled along its route, I found myself drawn to the mysterious figure at the back. They sat perfectly still, their features obscured by the darkness, but I could feel their eyes boring into me, cold and unyielding. It was as if they were watching, waiting for something, but for what, I couldn't begin to imagine. Suddenly, with a jolt that sent me lurching forward in my seat, the bus came to a sudden stop. Confused murmurs rippled through the passengers as we peered out into the darkness, trying to discern the cause of our unexpected halt. But all we could see was an endless expanse of empty road, stretching out into the night like a yawning abyss. The driver's voice crackled over the intercom, strained and trembling with fear. "We've encountered some technical difficulties," he muttered, his words punctuated by static. "Please remain calm while I assess the situation." But as he spoke, a sense of dread washed over me, cold and suffocating. There was something out there, lurking in the darkness, something malevolent and hungry. And as I peered out into the night, straining to see through the inky blackness, I caught a glimpse of something, a pair of glowing eyes, burning like twin flames in the night. Panic surged through me, clawing at my chest with icy fingers. "We need to get out of here," I whispered, my voice barely audible above the rising clamor of the other passengers. But before anyone could react, a deafening roar filled the air, drowning out all other sound. The bus lurched violently, as if caught in the grip of some unseen force. Seats overturned, luggage went flying, and terrified screams filled the air as we were thrown about like rag dolls in a hurricane. And through it all, I could hear the laughter, cruel and mocking, echoing through the darkness like a death knell. With a final, bone-jarring jolt, the bus ground to a halt, shuddering as if in the throes of death. And as the dust settled and the echoes of our terror faded into silence, I knew with a sinking heart that we were no longer alone. For lurking in the shadows, just beyond the reach of the flickering lights, was something ancient and malevolent, something that hungered for our souls. And as it slithered forth from the darkness, a twisted mockery of humanity, I knew that our nightmare had only just begun. In the end, only one thing remained clear: never, ever take bus 13.